Hey everybody, welcome back. Once again, one more guitar. And it's a semi-hollow as you can see. And it's a little bit different. And that's one of the reasons that I purchased this thing and what attracted me to it. It is a D'Angelico or a D'Angelico, depending upon how you want to pronounce it. And these guitars are not too dissimilar from Gretsch in that they're a little bit different, right? Aesthetically, sound-wise, than the average semi-hollow, usual suspects, which are typically Gretsch and Gibson and Ibanez. So these guitars go down a little bit of a different path from a look standpoint, at least, in terms of what they're noted for, which are their very, very elaborate, decorative headstocks, right? They have a very, very distinctive cutout on their headstock, their normal headstock, I should say. Their tuning pegs are very modern, right? Looking tuners on the guitars, very recognizable from a D'Angelico standpoint. And they may be too ornate for the average person. I know their normal headstock, which again is bigger than this and has more flair to it, it's not something that I gravitate towards, nor the tuners, the tuning pegs on the guitar, which have another ornate look to them. This is an alternative headstock. I like it much better, personally. I like these tuners, which are plain looking with pearl-like knobs on them. So I'm much happier with the way this specific model looks, and that's what drew me to it. Also, the smaller size. The lower bout on this guitar is only 14 inches. So the larger semi-hollow body guitars are in the 15 to 16 inch range. This is a smaller or mini bout on the guitar, which I like as well. Find it more comfortable. For those of you that aren't 100% familiar with D'Angelico or D'Angelico, they have three lines of guitars. The first is their lowest line, which is the Premier, and that is manufactured in Indonesia and uses, some of their modest import components, switches, pickups, materials, etc. Then you get to the mid-series, which is this, and that's the XL line, as you can see right here on the headstock. And these are made in Korea. And then when you go to the higher end of the series or models of guitars, you get to the deluxe line, which is also made in Korea. But this is a fairly good representation of their better constructed instruments. These guitars, the street price on this thing is $699.99. I had some rewards points. I purchased it at Musician's Friend, and being a long-time customer there, I was able to get a better deal on the guitar. This, from a feature standpoint, I mentioned it's got a smaller lower bout, which you can see. It's 14 inches. It has a maple body on this guitar, maple sides, maple top, maple back, laminate. 5-ply binding on the guitar, which is very, very nicely done. I don't know if you could see it there, but very nicely done binding around the guitar, top and back. It's an off-white color. It has a set neck on the guitar. Has a C shape. 12-inch fretboard radius on the guitar, very comfortable and a very nice, I would say, shallow C feel to it. An ebony fretboard with these diamond inlays on the guitar, which I like as opposed to the bigger block inlays on most of the other lines within D'Angelico. 22 medium jumbo frets, and they are not stainless steel frets, they're normal nickel frets. excellent fret job on this guitar. There's no sharp fret ends, no dead frets or raised frets. String height was a slightly bit high out of the box, but nothing that I can't adjust. And on these types of guitars, I typically go with a little bit higher action than, the lowest action possible, because I don't use these things for any sort of metal playing or any sort of, crazy guitar playing, which I don't do anyway. So I don't need, ultra low action on the guitar. The higher action actually gives it a little bit more tone. Satin nickel hardware. So the hardware has like a dull finish to it on the pickups and the bridge, etc., which I like. It's like a brushed chrome finish on the guitar. It has the throwback F-holes on the guitar, which are kind of nice, as opposed to the modern shaped F-holes. I like the way these things actually look. I think they're cool. This is called a throwback scroll headstock from D'Angelico. That's what they call the headstock, which I like again. A Graphtec new bone nut on the guitar, cut very well. A stop bar tailpiece on the guitar. 3-way switch, 1 volume, 1 tone, no push-pull electronics. Now, the pickups on the guitar are the secret sauce, in my opinion. These are Supro pickups. Now, back in 2022, D'Angelico purchased Supro, which were known for their retro instruments and amps, guitars, amplifiers, etc. Small brand, but had a very, very decent reputation for a unique type of a thing, right? Sound. And these pickups are Supro pickups. They're called Supro Bolt Bucker, right? It sounds very similar to Burst Bucker from Gibson, but they're Supro Bolt Bucker pickups. And they're interesting because they're a hybrid type of a set of pickups. You've got Alnico 2's magnets in the neck of the guitar, in the neck pickup. And in the bridge pickup, you have Alnico 5 pickups. So you get a nice blend of the two pickups. The Alnico 2's have slightly lower output, a little bit more of a vintagey sound. The Alnico 5 pickups have a higher output, more modern sound, more aggressive sound, and the two of them combined actually give you some nice options from a tonal standpoint. Really nice set of stock pickups on the guitar. I mentioned that they have the diamond inlays. What else? Is there anything I missed? I don't believe so, guys. So, the guitar is very, very comfortable. Now, let me just show you one other thing. I'm going to put this down for 1 minute. The guitar includes, which is kind of unique, it's D'Angelico as well, this gig bag. And it's not a dust cover by any stretch. It is a proper gig bag with a nice shape to it, that really protects the guitar nicely. As you can see here, the only thing is the zipper ends right here. I would have liked it better if the zipper went lower so you can more comfortably open this thing. You got to sort of slide the guitar in. But that's okay. The padding on this is phenomenal inside this gig bag. And it has the little Velcro adjustment and strap here to keep the neck straight and set down when you put it in the gig bag. So this thing is not a dust cover by any means. It's an expensive, I would believe, gig bag that they include. You have all the straps you need on here. It's got a nice front pocket, and it came with the Allen keys to adjust the neck if so needed. And yeah, nice gig bag. Very happy with that. So, back to this baby over here. Strap locks. Well, you got one here and one on the bottom. The input is right here for the guitar. And I think now we did a full, proper walkthrough of the guitar. Now, we'll play some tones for you so you hear what this thing sounds like. So I've got it on clean. I have my Gamma 25 watt amp on a clean setting. And fairly low volume. I'll increase my volume maybe to 10 o'clock. And let's see what we got here. Here's the neck pickup. And now middle position, which is the neck and the bridge. And now just the bridge pickup. And this is the tone knob. The tone knob controls both pickups. Right now we have just the bridge pickup through the tone. Middle. And the neck pickup. This is the volume control I'm using. Hang on. For the neck. Controls are okay. They do have a lot of variance in them. Are they perfect pots? Probably not, but they get the job done. The volume control seems to work okay. Here we go with the volume off on the neck pickup. Starts picking up a bit. Like some real cheap potentiometers, it doesn't go from nothing to full on and that's it. There are incremental levels of volume with these knobs, which is a good thing. And they are these wooden knobs or wooden type knobs on the guitar that kind of add to the retro look, which is really nice in my opinion. Let's play some single notes clean. I'll go from the neck pickup right through to the bridge pickup. Neck. And now we will put on some distortion. Quite a bit of distortion. Neck pickup. Middle, both. And the bridge. And some notes. We'll get this shut off for a second. Now I'm going to play this totally unplugged and acoustically, finally, so that you can hear what this sounds like if you're just playing this guitar unplugged and you just want to hang out and play it on the couch. So there's not a ton of volume, full disclosure, when you're playing this thing unplugged because it's a smaller bodied guitar, right? It just doesn't have the depth from a construction standpoint to really put any sort of decent output without being plugged in. I mean, you can play it and you can hear it for yourself, but that's about it. I mean, you're not gonna, it's just not loud. The tuners on the guitar, that was the one thing I missed. They're decent tuners. They're not the best, they're not the worst, but they're decent. These are Grover vintage style tuners on the guitar. They're called Grover Deluxe. And I'm not sure what the gear ratio is. Doesn't really state it. But, you know, they lock in. They don't slip. They seem to be working fine. And they're better than, you know, really bottom of the line import components that typically ship with guitars, you know, that aren't $1,000 and up. So they're Grover Deluxe tuners, vintage style, and they're fine. This guitar I mentioned before is a Korean build. The serial number indicates that it was made in 2022, so it's been sitting around some warehouse for a bit. These were made a while ago. But again, I'm really happy with the quality of this guitar. It was finished nicely. This guitar comes in 3 colors. This is wine, which is almost more like an oxblood. It's a very, very dark red, right? When you get a bad jar of tomato sauce and it has that dark red color, that's no, I shouldn't be saying that. So it's considered wine. Then there's black that it comes in as well. And then slate blue, which is sort of like a funky blue is all I could say it is. And they call it slate blue. It's more sort of like Pelham blue, but not really. They're not metallic finishes. They're solid paint finishes. You don't see the wood through them. And glossy back of the neck. If that's not your thing, you won't like it because it doesn't have a satin or a matte finish. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I like the guitar. I think it's a really comfortable guitar to play. I think these pickups are unique and different. I think it plays nicely, and I think it looks pretty cool. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Any questions, put them in the comments. If you like these videos, guys, please like and share. And until the next one, be well. See you soon. Take care.